Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Hi, everyone. Nobody's here. That's fine. I'm here. I'm having some technical difficulties. That I think is probably going to keep me from being able to do this whole show. So I just wanted to come in. I'll stay for a minute. Say hi to everybody. We'll have to pass on. I don't know. I'll hang out. How's everybody doing? This is terrible YouTube, by the way. Oh, it's not even YouTube. YouTube, Facebook, whatever. Hello, Rhaegar. Hello, Arlene. I already scheduled this, and so I didn't want to just cancel it, but I did want to let you know that I probably can't stick around for too long because it's been a day. How about a video on your early days in comics, Mike? As a fan in the indie comic scene, was super exciting. It's an interesting video on my early days. I mean, I've done that story so many times, haven't I? Really, I have. So, big news today. I can't remember his name. Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby is getting out of prison because his thing's been overturned. And I actually retweeted somebody I didn't think I would ever want to retweet. I can't even remember the guy's name. Where is it? It's on my profile. But it was from the transcript of the thing. Everybody's saying that Bill Cosby admitted to drugging women, and in the transcript of the case, it is a very much a no, I didn't. I'll just show it. I'll share it real quick. I don't know why this is even an issue, but hi, Roscoe. Blank. Have sex with? Answer yes. Did you ever give any of those young women the Quaaludes without their knowledge? That's the question you've been directed to answer. Answer. No, I just gave them the pudding pops and the Jello. Oh, so look, I don't know if Bill Cosby is guilty or innocent. Apparently, it's been overturned, so legally he's innocent. And just okay, I grant you he's a adulterer or something. Anyways, but Bill Cosby was one of these big black voices that was going against the narrative of the race hustlers. They don't like that. And do you remember our friend Herman Cain? 999. Herman Cain was making some headway. And he was against the race hustler narrative as well. And then out of the blue, all of these women came and accused him of this, that, and the other, right? And it got to the point where there were so many women coming out that he had to drop out of the presidential race. And then all those women vanished into the ether from whence they came. Because the one thing you do with someone who's standing up against... This is a terrible Bill Cosby voice. The one thing you do when someone is standing up against your narrative is you tear them down. Especially when they're a person whose public persona has always been this moral... Bill Cosby was like America's dad, right? They forget that. All these race hustlers who are saying like, black people have been disgraced and disregarded and the blah, blah, blah. I grew up in the 80s. Bill Cosby was America's dad. It didn't matter that he was black. His family, his children, his wife, everybody was black. He was America's dad. You guys remember this? Somehow or another, the race hustlers want to erase that entire thing from history. Bill Cosby was like the best father on TV. Right? He was like the best at, I mean, look, we had Bill Cosby, we had on the white side. I'm trying to remember all of them. All right. I grant you, Michael Seaver. Was it Michael Seaver? Who was that? He was a good dad, but he wasn't as popular as Bill Cosby. You had Al Bundy. You had Homer Simpson. Michael Seaver was a good dad. Michael Seaver. I'll go with Michael Seaver. And you had Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby was he was a great role model for a generation. A generation. I mean, at least his character he was portraying on TV was a great role model for a generation of kids, many of whom did not have fathers. Right? Rhaegar says, I think Herman Cain and Bill Cosby are different circumstances. Bill's accusations were way worse. Right. Accusations. Because, all right, let's pretend like he's innocent for a second, because innocent until proven guilty, and now his guilt has just been overturned because legalese, whatever it is. Now we must, once again, as our system of jurisprudence demands, assume his innocence. Assume he's innocent. He was America's dad. He was looked up to by an entire generation of Americans, black, white, brown, yellow, purple, pink, chartreuse, whatever it is. If you're going to target America's dad, you can't tear him down with the same kind of accusations you try to use against maybe Clarence Thomas or 999 Herman Cain. You need to go hardcore. This guy is a disturbed, disgusting individual, to wipe away all of his influence from that generation who believed, you know what? We can believe in the American dream. We can fight. We can stand up and we can try to be a Huxtable. We can try to be a Huxtable. I don't even know what voice I'm doing now. Right? You have to tear him out, root and stem, from the psyche of those people who looked up to that character and him as a person. Because once he started flapping his gums and saying all the things the race hustlers don't want him saying, isn't that, I mean, think about the timing there. He was quiet for a good long time. And then he started speaking up about fatherless children, about drug abuse, about blacks killing blacks, all the things the race hustlers don't want spoken out loud. Or if it's spoken out loud, they say everybody who's saying that stuff is a racist. America's dad was saying all this stuff. Mike is doing Dave Chappelle imitating Samuel L. Jackson voice from that beer commercial skit. I don't know. I didn't watch Dave Chappelle. I watched a few little skits, but I don't think I remember that one. Hey-o! Cross-by examinations today. I'm going to stick around as long as I can. My stomach seems to be settling a little bit right now. A little bit. Last night, it was weird. Okay, you guys, you're here. It's just 7 of you. Don't share this. Don't share. It's just us here today. I felt so, bloated last night that I was, just uncomfortable. And I'm like, I'm just going to go to sleep. So and of course, as soon as I try to go to sleep, everyone thinks that we should have a party in my bedroom. So I'm sitting there with a pillow over my head and just feeling all bloated and uncomfortable and just trying to go to sleep. And then today, you ever bad burrito? That's entirely possible. Oh, that was supposed to be a Cosby examinations. Screen, record, and go. I did have a burrito yesterday. My diet yesterday was not ideal. I think it was entirely too much cheese. I had some pizza, some burrito, quesadilla. I think so. Today, you know, when you have a balloon, it's all bloated up with air, right? It's just bloated, and then you just release it, and it starts going. Well, that's today. So I'm going to try to hold out as long as I can for this episode. It's been 11 minutes so far, and I'm all right. So I mean, I'm lactose intolerant. I've never had an issue with cheese. Perhaps it was just too much cheese today. Too late. Shared it 3 places. All right. Well, Mike, you should check it out. It's over a decade old, but Chappelle Show was great. They couldn't make it now. Yeah. You know what they couldn't make now is the Cosby Show, because it showed a well-adjusted, happy black family in America. And we all know there's no such thing as a well-adjusted, happy black family in America. The race hustlers told us. They're all oppressed and miserable, and they need reparations and blah, 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 blah. Oh, that reminds me. So today, also, I was in a debate, Facebook again, with a young lady on Joe Benitez's page. And she was equating, so she's clearly been raised by Marxists. She was equating Jim Crow? No, it wasn't even Jim. She didn't even bring up Jim Crow. Re-education camps, which, mind you, we don't have in America. Unless she's talking about like the gay training, retraining, whatever it is, like Exodus International. The Japanese internment camps. And like a couple of little like random things to the 100 million people that died under communism. And she's all, same thing. And so Joe brings up the fact that, she just keeps trying to blame everything on straight white men. And I'm like, I didn't say anything, but Joe's like, well, Mike's only half straight white man. He's also half Japanese. And she's like, well, how can he support the internment camps in Japan? Joe, who is Joe Benitez? Joe Benitez. He's an artist friend of mine. Leftists must really be struggling. Do we support cops arresting Cosby unfairly, or do we support Me Too? Oh yeah, don't let me squirrel about the Democrats are actually trying to convince the world. They're trying to gaslight the world into thinking that it's Republicans who've been wanting to defund the police. What? A year and a half you've been trying actively, loudly, recklessly, and continuously trying to defund the police, and now that the crime rates are going up, you're trying to blame that on the Republicans? But anyways, my point was that first of all, I told her that I thought the internment camps were a great idea, and so do most Japanese people, because the Japanese are fiercely loyal. They believe that Hirohito wasn't just emperor. They believed Hirohito was God. That's why you didn't have Germans committing suicide because they thought their God had lost the war, right? You had Japanese people thinking that their God had been cooked by the United States of America, and therefore they killed themselves. The Japanese culture is a very peculiar culture, and so at any rate, I then wrote, just a few decades after having everything taken away from Japanese Americans during World War II, we still ended up being the most successful minority group in America. Why? Because we don't blame anyone else on our problems, for our problems. We get to work. We keep our kids from having babies out of wedlock. We teach honor and shame. It's not a shame to teach shame and respect. We were, and I mean this literally, in last place as a population in America. No property, no influence, no generational wealth, not even the right to own property or vote in all 50 states. Most of you don't even know that, right? It wasn't until the 63 or 65 Voting Rights Act that Asian Americans got the federal right to vote in all 50 states. I'm not sure when the right to own property was overturned. And yet, that evil, horrible, straight white man just couldn't keep us from success. What is your excuse? She has not yet responded to me. It's been a few hours. She was very diligent about responding to me every time I posted prior to this one. But yes. Happy Shame Month, by the way. Happy Shame Month to you too, some big jerk. Japanese American response. Mic drop. Yeah, I'll be based. Unless you're George Takei. In his case, everything is the fault of Bill Shatner. Oh my. It's true though. Focus. Stupid camera. Why my camera don't want to focus on my face? What is it focusing on that is not me? I can make it focus on my... Look how crystal clear my hand is. Now look. She's going to send Mike some cheese. I love cheese. I probably shouldn't have so much cheese. Hey, tonight we're going to be doing... Neoteric. Why has Zach got to come up with some weird names? Neoteric, Zach's book. We're doing that on Dawning Court, so please do come on by. Hopefully. Look, it's been 18 minutes. My stomach's not bothering me all that much. What am I doing today? I am working on BitBoy again. All the other NFT stuff I was doing is sort of... I'm waiting for an approval on a storyline. Because we're going outside of just doing NFTs. I cannot wait till you guys find out what I'm doing because it's kind of exciting. It's exciting. Have you? Okay, you might have been. I don't know. Anybody been let down by any of my secret projects thus far? When I say I've got a secret project, has the reveal of the secret project let anyone down thus far? Let me know. Let me know. Because this secret project, I will be big. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. This is a big secret project. Yes, Joe is an incredible artist. You should check out Lady Mechanica. That is his creator-owned comic book. Very good. And he's a really good guy. He leans pretty hard left, but he's open to discussion. So he's under no circumstances an SJW. Incoming. What's incoming? I'm making a video. Can I get a PDF of Lone Star 2? Sure. Hold on. Lucky number Kevin. Oh, by the way, if you notice on Twitter, Kevin has changed his name to Lucky number Kevin in solidarity with me changing my name to Smiller. My only problem with you other reveal is I never heard of Shadow of the Conqueror before, so I had no chance of guessing. Well, I mean, then you look at it and you realize it's a fantasy book, which is my shtick. It's for a nerd YouTuber, which means pretty good possibility that a lot of those guys are comic book readers. And he's got 1.1 million subscribers. So, right? I mean, the reveal, even though it's not like, oh, it's something I desperately want, it is something that you recognize, well, that's probably going to help my exposure to grow. And it's not like I'm just doing it for exposure. I'm doing it for a paycheck, exposure, royalties. But yes, it's Daniel Green. No, but we are going to be sending Daniel a one of the hardback preview copies of Shadow. Secret Project is Mike drawn Lord of the Rings comic adaptation approved by Christopher Tolkien from Beyond the Grave. Wait, Christopher Tolkien died? Did he? I didn't know that. Did I know that? I don't think I knew that. When did Christopher Tolkien die? It's not really important. I didn't know the guy. But maybe I did know that. Because I remember that the Tolkien didn't like comics. Or something like that. C.S. Lewis also. The estate of C.S. Lewis didn't like comics. So maybe one of these days when one of these people in the estate dies, they'll be like, somebody else will become the head of the estate who likes comics. Oh, okay. Last January. All right. That's how they're able to pull what they're doing to Lord of the Rings on Amazon. Oh. Well, do you think maybe they like comic books too? We can find out. Somebody find out. Actually, I have someone who probably can find it. But, all right. Let's see. All right, I think I covered everything here. How's everything going? Trump's at the border. That's cool. No. I'm not going to read that. How about we just get to the Bible? How about I close this and I try to find... Oh, look, it's coming back up. Bitcoin's having a good day. Let's go to... Where's my Bible? Where is my Bible? There it is. Bang. Found it. Next chapter. 2 Samuel, chapter 12. Put in a good word for me with Daniel Green. Jeff Potts, you don't even have a good word with me, mister. You're still on double secret probation. Oh, wait, no. You're dead to me, right? I can't remember if you're dead to me or if I just have you on double secret probation.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
So how about we go to the Bible? Maybe God will be merciful to my stomach until we're done with 2 Samuel, chapter 12. And the Lord sent Nathan. Let me pray for this first. I'm dead to you. Oh, okay. All right. Well, how could I read that if you're dead to me? Lord God, help me. Help these words to penetrate and to reveal and to open our eyes and our ears to the lessons you wish to teach us today. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Double secret probation was all of last year. All right. And the Lord sent Nathan unto David And he came unto him and said unto him, There were 2 men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing, save one little ewe lamb, which he had bought and nourished up. And it grew up together with him and with his children. It did eat of his own meat, and drank of his own cup, and lay in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter. I'm just glad he didn't say as a lover, because, the rest of that sounds a little weird. And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd, to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb, and dressed it for the man that was come to him. Now, I grant you, the ewe lamb was a girl, but by dressed it, he doesn't mean he put it in a nice little outfit and put ponytails, pigtails, and ribbons. That meant he cooked it for dinner. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man, and he said to Nathan, As the Lord liveth, the man that hath done this thing shall surely die. Which I think is overkill. No? I mean, even if that happened, you want to kill a guy because he killed a lamb? Overkill, David. Overkill. David's good at overkill. He does a lot of overkill. And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing and because he had no... If he's dead, how's he going to restore the lamb fourfold? David, come on, a little common sense. And Nathan said to David, Thou art the man. Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul, and I gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things. Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thy house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of this sun, for thou didst it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel, and before the sun. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, The Lord also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die. Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die. That's pretty gnarly. It was pretty foul. He took the man's prized possession. Yeah, but it was still a possession. I'm just saying. David tends to overreact to things. I don't know if you noticed that. You killed my lamb. Off with his head. Yes. Someone once ate my KFC. I admit thoughts of death did cross my mind, so I understand. All right. But this part, I had a notation here. Because this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child that is born unto thee shall surely die. This is like when, just more in a more modern context. This is like when, was it Jimmy Swaggart? Was it Swaggart? or what are those guys? Anytime one of these big, famous televangelists does something freaking bad, it gives occasion to the enemies of the Lord to mock Christianity, right? That's how this plays into the modern context. David was God's chosen. And because he was God's chosen, and he made it very clear through Samuel, through everybody, God has ordained David to be king. And yet, even after he's been given everything by God, he commits a sin that would be a blight on God. And I get it. Right? Swaggart and Ravi. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Prosperity gospel. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Pete literally died over chicken in current year. That's true. That's true. Yeah, so what David's doing here, very much like all the Popeye chicken fights. Anyways, let's move on. And Nathan departed unto his house, and the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto David, and it was very sick. David therefore besought God for the child, and David fasted and went in and lay all night upon the earth. And the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the earth, but he would not, neither did he eat bread with them. And it came to pass on the 7th day that the child died. And the servants of David feared to tell him that the child was dead, for they said, Behold, while the child was yet alive, we spake unto him, and he would not hearken unto our voice. How will he then vex himself if we tell him that the child is dead? But when David saw that his servants whispered, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore David said unto his servants, Is the child dead? And they said, He is dead. They never even named the child, huh? He never got, he wasn't even old enough to be circumcised. The 7th day. They circumcised on the 8th day. Just pointing that out. Then David arose from the earth and washed and anointed himself and changed his apparel and came into the house of the Lord and worshipped. Then he came to his own house, and when he required, they set bread before him, and he did eat. Then the servants said unto him, What thing is this that thou hast done? Thou didst fast and weep for the child while it was alive, but when the child was dead, thou didst rise and eat bread. And he said, While the child was yet alive, I fasted and wept, for I said, Who can tell whether God will be gracious to me, that the child may live? But now he is dead. Wherefore should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I shall go to him, but he shall not return to me. There's a lot of this particular verse. I shall go to him, he shall not return to me. I'll hear, because I know I've debated with modern Reformed Jews who don't believe in heaven, who don't believe in eternal paradise, right? They believe heaven is on earth, whatever. Or you're supposed to make earth into heaven, something like that. I think the name is given at the bris. Oh, I think you're right, Jeff. I don't think this makes the very strongest case, but it does seem that David has that intention, that he does understand that there is an afterlife, and that in the afterlife he will be reacquainted with his son. I mean, you go to the New Testament, it's all over the place. And I don't think this is the only place in the Old Testament that it makes that case, that there is an eternal life after this vapor is past, right? And David comforted Bathsheba his wife, and went in unto her. That was comforting. And lay with her, and she bare a son. and he called his name Solomon, and the Lord loved him. I wonder what the time frame is here, because this couldn't have been like day 8, right? Day 7, day 8, like you just gave birth, and David's like, "Oh, let me comfort you and make another baby." They had to have a little, no, right? Oh no, wait. Okay, according to the Bible, what is it? After birth, isn't the wife is unclean for 2 weeks, right? Is that right? Somebody look that up, or don't, whatever. And he sent by the hand of Nathan the prophet, and he called his name Jedediah because of the Lord. I tried to name all my boys Jedediah. Some of you know this already. Because I wanted to call him Jedi. And every single time we had a boy, my wife's like, yeah, no. I'm like, it's literally a family name. One of my forebears, I don't know if it's my great-great-great-grandfather or great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, his name was Jedediah. That's a whole nother thing. Like everybody up until me in the Miller family had a J in their name. I broke that trend. Sorry. And she said no. And now I'm glad. That is how much of a Star Wars fan I was. Now it's just not that important. Maybe it's because I've grown up. No? Yes? Maybe? I don't know. So thank you, Jill. See, Jill has a J in her name. This is J, right? Sign language. But he called his name Jedediah because of the Lord. Can I do a Blue Letter Bible real quick? Or maybe not. What does Jedediah mean? The amazing name Jedediah, but means beloved of Yah, which means God. Wait, curious because it is the name which the prophet Nathan gave to Solomon. Solomon's father, King David, had stolen Uriah's wife Bathsheba, got her pregnant, subsequently Uriah killed. During 7 days, foretold by Nathan, and she was named Solomon. Okay. He sent by the hand of Nathan the prophet and called his name Jedediah because of the Lord. That is hilarious. Yeah, squirrel time. I never noticed this. Jedediah is Solomon. I don't know how I never connected that. Wow, then it goes totally non sequitur. And Joab fought against Rabbah, the children of Ammon, and took the royal city. Wait, we're talking about Jedediah here. Wow, squirrel. Look at that. God squirrel. God squirrel. So interesting. I did end up naming one of my kids Jedediah because his middle name is Solomon. I missed quite a bit of the show. Sorry about that. It's all right, Andrew. No worries. Thanks for being here. All right. Now, hard right turn in the narrative. And Joab fought against Rabbah, the children of Ammon, and took the royal city. And Joab sent messengers to David and said, I have fought against Rabbah and have taken the city of waters. Now, therefore, gather the rest of the people together and encamp against the city and take it, lest I take the city and it be called after my name. Freaking Joab. Someone should do, there should have been a book of Joab. It would have been called Joab the Douche. And David gathered all the people together and went to Rabbah and fought against it and took it. And he took their king's crown from off his head, the weight whereof was a talent of gold with the precious stones, and it was set on David's head. And he brought forth the spoil of the city in great abundance. And he brought forth the people that were therein and put them under saws and under harrows of iron and under axes of iron and made them pass through the brick kiln. Remember how I was saying that David overreacts? Hmm. And thus did he unto all the cities of the children of Ammon. So David and all the people returned unto Jerusalem. Yikes. Yee. Ah. Joab had a Moab. Where is Moab on the map? Moab. Moab. Map of Moab. Surrounding area. No, that can't be right. Oh, there it is. On the other side of... let's see, this is Galilee up here, right? Phoenicia, Israel. On the other side of Jericho. On the other side, Edom, north of Edom. Edom is where the Edomites were descendants of Esau. Moab is a bomb, mother of all bombs, yes. And yet, he's a man after God's own heart. It's true. I mean, look what God did to the earth. But, God can't overreact. God's reactions are all perfect. So there it is. There it is. To the east of Judah. There you go. All right. Stop screen sharing. He's squirreling. Jeff, mother of all Bible shows. There you go. There you go. All right, let's scroll up and see if I missed anybody. Called him the same name twice, huh? I'm going to start calling JoJo Jedi. No, I will not. I will have to point that out to my wife, though. I think she'll get a kick out of it. She is pretty conservative. I don't know who that is. There's a smart chick who used to be on The View. Her name is Jedediah Bila. Oh, yeah. I've seen her. She was at a outdoor cafe in New York during Comic-Con. I was walking back to my hotel, and I'm like, Earth will become one with heaven eventually after the heavens and earth are remade. I really don't know how that works, Jay. There's very little info, very sparse info on the millennium, and other than parabolically descriptions of heaven, or the kingdom of heaven is how Jesus phrases it. 7 the other day says there's no such thing as heaven. Like, you don't go to heaven. And then I was going to go do a word study on it to see what he's talking about. And I didn't, but I started when I was listening to Jesus. It's very, very often he doesn't refer to heaven. He refers to the kingdom of heaven. That might be a word study or Bible study, something we could dig into. I mean, I do have time right now, 43:49. Let's do a word study on the Blue Letter Bible. BlueLetterBible.org. Let's look up heaven. Well, it's 582 times. Oh, I did do a real quick study on this. Most of the time in the Old Testament, when they're talking about heaven, they're talking about the sky or space, the heavens, like the physical heavens, not the spiritual heavens. Now, when he's saying the kingdom of heaven, I don't think he's talking about Jupiter and Mars, and right. The best view clips are of Norm Macdonald's. You're trying to make me squirrel. I love Norm Macdonald's appearance on it. The first one from him like 20 years ago got him banned, and the one recently where he fake apologizing. Hey, he was fake apologizing. Norm Macdonald. We're both hilarious. Thank you very much. Are there 3 heavens, Mike? The new heavens, the new earth, The heavens separated from the heavens. No, the water separated from the waters by the firmament. I think colloquially, yes. I think there's the sky heaven, space heaven, and the kingdom of heaven, wherein is God's throne or God's. Norm MacDonald had a farm. All right. Let's see. I will put heaven as iron. Day of stars of heaven. Oh, I can share this. I can share it. I could be sharing now. For what God is there in heaven or in earth, they can do according to the works. Midst of heaven, eyes unto heaven. That just means looking up. Host of heaven. See, there you go. The host of heaven. The host of heaven. And that's an interesting thing because stars are a metaphor for angels in Scripture. When a third of the stars fell, that's talking about a third of the heavenly host. The heavenly host that falls are the angels that follow Lucifer. Right? So, I don't know, man. Seven made this clip, and I didn't even argue with him. I just wanted to move on. But the host of heaven are stars. So, is heaven the universe? I don't even know, because I believe that the kingdom of heaven, where I believe the physical universe, we only see, again, the four dimensions, and we don't see the fourth. It's time. We just live through time in one direction. But we can only access these four dimensions. I believe that through the 10 or 11 dimensions that God created, that Nachmanides discovered in the Old Testament, and that science through I think quantum theory or something, they theorize the same number of dimensions as Nachmanides did in the 12th century. I believe that God and the angelic host exist with access to. Maybe God has access to more than the angelic host, right? So, like, I've said this before. I mean, after Jesus accessed his resurrected body, even before he accessed his resurrected body, dude could walk on water, right? But afterwards, he could appear and disappear, possibly walking through walls even. He could fly. What do you think ascension is? Ascending from the earth is flying. So he could access things beyond the boundaries of our physical laws. And I believe that is accessing multidimensional physics, so to speak. That kind of takes us over to the whole UFO thing, where that's also why I evidence that they are angelic or of angelic machinations, is that the UFOs are seen almost always doing things that are beyond the physical, at least the UFOs. I'm not talking about advanced spacecraft. I'm talking about the stuff where they're capturing people and extracting. Anyways, yay, big brain time. I love it. So, anyways, yeah, things like that. That's why I think the angelic, the kingdom of heaven, however you want to phrase it. And so, a very good point about the new heavens and the new earth possibly being all one. The new earth exists in the new heavens. And as we are the resurrected beings, I feel the spirit on me, like I'm on the right direction here. As we are resurrected beings, we will have access to more than the four dimensions, and we will have access to the angelic host, because obviously we interact with the angelic host in the new earths. Actually, Actually, the angelic host is visible in the millennial age too, isn't it? I believe the angelic host acts kind of like the police on Earth during the millennium, if I recall. I got the best brains. You never seen brains like this before. Many ufologists have said they think they are multi-dimensional. Here's the thing. I think a lot of people tend to, when they think multi-dimensional, they think like, oh man, there's a dimension where there's evil Mike with a goatee, right? Like they think it's more like multiverse type of thing than multi-dimensional. Multi-dimensional is like there's things we can't access because we are incapable of I mean, like, I don't know. This all kind of ties together. It sort of ties together with the whole theory that the universe is a hologram, right? It's a physical hologram that God has created. Well, science wouldn't say God created it. Science would just say the universe is a hologram. We don't know who created it. It's like, all right. Anyways, moving on. Because we seem to be physical. Our experience is physical, right? But in real, actual, in the purest physical sense, we are mostly empty space with tiny electrical particles, positive and negative electrical particles, swirling around each other. If it was just the electrical space, and there's so much space between these particles that it's like if one of the particles was a basketball, the next nearest particle would be a mile away if you blew up an atom to the size where an electron was the size of a basketball. The next particle, the neutron or whatever, would be a mile away. So literally, we should be able to just phase through each other. Perhaps that's how Jesus walked through walls. Perhaps how Jesus wasn't affected by gravity and he could ascend into space. What? Heavens. It says heavens. How do I know? He didn't just... When it says he ascended into the heavens, does it mean he was like, got down on one knee and went, dun, 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 and then... Jesus was an awesome superhero. All right. That's the CGI one, which isn't actually the worst besides the Pentagon. Are you talking about Godzilla? Do you think that black holes are doorways into different universes, Mike? No, I don't think there are different universes. No, multiverse theory. Multiverse theory is an excuse, just like hopeful monster theory. So I'll give you a real quick. Hopeful monster theory was when the evolutionists finally realized, wow, this whole survival of the fittest and, and a mutations thing, that there's really not enough time in the entire universe for that to actually happen on Earth. So what made me happen is you had a lizard and it gave birth to a chicken. This was a legit theory in evolutionary circles. They've since kind of changed it to punctuated equilibrium, wherein vast tragic circumstances wiped out a majority population of a bunch of things, and then suddenly they were forced to evolve very quickly. Here's the problem with that. You'd have to have that happen over and over and over and over and over and over. You'd have to have a history filled with nothing but punctuated equilibrium to get from a single-celled organism to a human being. Same thing with the multiverse theory. Once they realized that wow, you know what? The circumstances for life to actually exist on this big blue ball we live on are so fine-tuned into perfection and cannot deviate in the slightest, or life would never have existed. Life could no longer exist. If any of a 1,000 different mechanisms in the clockwork of the Earth, the solar system, etc., 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 if any of 1,000 different things were even a degree off, a fraction of a degree off, life would cease to exist. And when they look at that, and rather than admit, well, doesn't evidence of design insinuate that there's a designer? They say, well, it is so incredibly unlikely as to be impossible that this one universe just happened to create all of those circumstances to the fine-tuning point that life actually did exist. But what if there were unlimited numbers of multiverses, universes, wherein every single one of them was slightly different from the next, and then we just happen to live in the one where everything culminated into absolute perfection so that life could exist, and we still don't have to believe in God. That's how desperate these people are to deny the existence of the God who designed this universe. Andrew Hayes misses the big blue ball avatar. I'm here, Andrew. I'm here for you. I'll always be here for you. Big blue ball, we're all living on a big blue ball. You are such a goober. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. I'll take that as a compliment. Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope that was fun. God blessed me with an hour of freedom from the throne. Hail, big blue ball! When the big blue ball comes, it's happy time. It's quiet time. It's time to say goodbye, everyone. We're all living on a perfectly designed, perfectly executed big blue ball. And God looked at the big blue ball and he said, it was good. God bless us, everyone. We'll see you next time.